Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager 300D 25.5-inch crash chain. Okay. The 300D by Hager is a very common crash chain in the world of commercial door hardware, or even heavy-duty residential applications. You might use a crash chain like this, but this is what you're going to see on doors up to 3 foot wide, and that's a direct reference to the length of the chain being 25.5 inch. Commercial steel doors, back doors, something that's going to get caught by the wind is the idea, and having a chain like this prevents damage to the door, to the frame, to the wall, to people, not least damage to people. There is a link below this video called dimensional drawing, but it's really kind of instructions, and if you want to review that now, we can take a look at it together. So the 300D is specifically intended for doors up to 3 foot wide. Anything smaller than that, this chain's too long, there's too much hanging there left over, you'd go to their 20.5 inch. If you've got doors that are wider than 3 foot, you'd go to their 30.5 inch length. Okay, this is a cast brass base. Okay, so it's not magnetic at all. With a steel chain, that's going to be in here. What you're going to have underneath the gray vinyl protective sleeve is a spring, a shock spring assembly. And what's nice is there's one of those on each end. This is what would be considered like a satin chrome finish. Well, this is what would be classified by Hager as satin chrome. Okay. There is another shock absorber on the other end. It's identical. So it's this will really take a lot of abuse in that sense. Now, a question that I get often, to the point where we've included it in the description, is what kind of pound load strength? 440 pounds, okay, is what this can handle before you're going to have failure in the chain assembly. Crash chains are a band-aid in the sense that they solve the problem very well if the abuse is not too significant or the expected conditions won't be too extreme. And what I mean by that is there's something that just hangs on the door and frame, so they hang down into the opening. Okay, they are surface mounted to everything, which is their Achilles heel, in the sense that the package of fasteners you're going to get are just these sheet metal screws, these bugle head, what is, in all intents purposes, from my eyes, bugle head fine drywall screws. This is what those look like. Okay, so my reservation about using crash chains versus hardware more appropriate for an application like an overhead stop is the material tearing out of the door and frame when it's tested, when it's used the way that you're installing it to be used. It is really not sufficient in terms of the thickness of a typical metal door and frame to hold this. If the wind really grabs that door and tears it open, those screws, in my opinion, in my experience, don't stand a chance at keeping the door safe with a crash chain. Crash chains are usually added after the fact, so you don't have the opportunity to specify the door and frame as reinforced for a crash chain. You might want to seriously consider a through bolt and grommet nut, called sex bolts. That can be added additionally to the cost of this. Feel free to reach out to us and let us know if you need that. We'll get that added to the order. There is an extra charge for it. But those are through bolts, so they're going to go through the door. You're going to have small grommet nuts, okay, that will go through the door. and in a lot of cases they're going to be a shoulder sort of bolt, so that when you tighten it down, you're not crushing in the face of the door. So that's really helpful. Because this is brass, you don't have any opportunity to weld this at all to your steel frame. However, if your installation is not expected to be too abusive, the screws will probably work just fine. I'm a fan of through bolting it immediately. The installation, you'll see that step 1, open door to approximately 90 degree. Okay, 4-inch from the hinge jamb over to where you're going to start this portion in the header. Obviously, this will be mounted on the push side. Okay. At that point, when your door is open at 90 degrees, and you've got this attached at 4-inch off the hinge jamb, off the jamb, you'll stretch that out, and you're going to get yourself a place where you're going to install this. You want it 3/4 inch from the top of the door down. You can mark your holes, center punch them, pre-drill your holes. And after that, you attach it, and you attach it how you would, and that's all that there really is to it. The second page of the link to the dimensional drawing just shows a line art of the item. Gives you dimensions on the mounting plates of this. 1.5 is very typical for crash chains. 1.5 by 1.5. Okay. And is a very common item sold, and as far as I'm concerned, they're a very inexpensive way to help prevent damage to a door. You could have a door with glass in it and get slammed open so much that the glass breaks and shatters, or it twists or bends the frame or damages the door. Anyway, if you have any questions on the Hager 300D 25.5-inch crash chain or any other Hager product, who's a full-line manufacturer of all things trim and auxiliary related, not only crash chains, but door stops and kick plates and a variety of other items. Weather stripping, exit devices, door closers, lock sets, Roton, aluminum continuous geared hinges, and of course their namesake, Hager Hinge, commercial and residential hinges that they manufacture is a very comprehensive offering. Any questions on the Hager 300D or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.